The Fantasy Footballer Studio is sponsored by Walmart. Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Welcome in. Tuesday, August 5th. Welcome in, one and all. Mike Wright, Jason Moore, Andy Holloway, the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Ice and fire on today's episode. One of our most heralded. Is it heralded? I don't know if it's heralded.
Oh, it's the herald sing of this
episode. They bring the trumpets out. They play the trumpets. They announce the show. Ice and fire today. We do have news to catch you up on, some that has made Jason very happy this morning.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk some undrafted gems as well. So looking at some undrafted players we think have potential, which works, towards dynasty leagues if they're guys sitting out on your waiver wire potentially, but also just players to pay attention to very early in the season after your drafts or sometimes after you have your redraft league and your draft happens and there's a couple weeks before the season starts or a week before and you want to pivot a player out of that last spot on your roster.
Or even your last draft pick. Like when you're in the draft and you're taking a swing at that last pick, sometimes you swing for the fences, you grab someone who's way, way, way lower in ADP, usually undrafted, and just sneak them on. See what happens.
We have the Value Scout tool now added to the Ultimate Draft Kit at ultimatedraftkit.com. Just another feature that you can access as you get ready for your drafts. That is live on the mobile apps and on the web. You can learn more about everything involved with the UDK at ultimatedraftkit.com. We got Mike back in the building.
Hello.
You can not without a couple of plane delays and things like that.
Oh yeah.
You are the least fortunate of the travelers in this studio, I think. You traditionally do not just get on planes.
Well, no,
sometimes you get on them and you sit on the tarmac for hours, and then you text us. And
they know when to tell you to show up.
Right. They just don't know
how to take off at the time they said we're going to do that.
Did you get an explanation for your delays?
It was weather.
Weather.
It's weather. Okay. It's the middle of the United States was messing everything up.
Okay.
I blame them.
Stupid middle.
Yeah, you can call them out. Call them out right now.
Slowing down my planes. Get it together.
But he's back in the building. You can follow the show over on X at the FF Ballers. Make sure you go over to YouTube. Watch the show over there, including a special weekly mini-series we have releasing every Saturday right now. YouTube.com/TheFantasyFootballer. Subscribe. Click the bell. When the season starts, we'll also be doing Sunday Live, which is a live show right before the games start on Sunday. Get you prepped up. We have our Friday episode, but things change, and everybody faces the tilt and the start-sit decisions, and Sunday
Injuries
Live is...
and weather, especially if you're in that middle.
In the middle weather, lots of good stuff.
Wrecking our planes and our football.
Yeah, well, weather does that. That's why we like building open stadiums. All right, let's get it started.
Undrafted Gems, presented by Walmart.
All right, we are about a month from kickoff. We're looking at some of those late-round undrafted players. You want to keep an eye on them as training camp happens. Mike, you weren't on the show yesterday morning. I kind of talked about my philosophy on Caleb Williams and some of the training camp news of things that happened, and it was like my position was that players can go from good to better, or really good to just okay.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard to buy into camp hype when it's bad to good. When it's a player you're making a complete change, that's the more difficult thing to buy into any camp hype or information. And we kind of talked about Caleb, like the vibes are not good. Like as a whole, the vibes are not good in Chicago on Caleb's training camp performances and inconsistency, accuracy. Will Ben Johnson be able to fix him? And we were kind of talking about that.
Yeah, just to jump in, like a steady drum beat is what you're looking for the training camp. I mean, bad is always more valuable and should be paid attention to more.
As in,
At
we
when
say that
players
bad news.
Yes.
Yes. Any bad news is not. There's no puff around that generally.
Right.
It's like
everyone's trying to hype their players.
Yes.
Everyone's trying to say how great they are, what great shape they're in, how everyone's looking good. They're trying to build morale. So when they're like, dude, this guy, this guy is he needs to step it up. That means he sucks.
Yeah, and it's not that good is always like it's always a puff piece. It's like that's what you want to hear. You want to hear, but consistently growing over these couple weeks. I mean, we don't have a ton of time to gather the data before our drafts, so it's the small things that we have to buy into and read.
So let's each pick a name, somebody that you think could end up more relevant than obviously they're being projected to be right now because of, I mean, they're not drafted. So Jason, what's a name for you?
Yeah, I would love to go first because ironically, the thing that has kind of pushed this player, and that player is Woody Marks, a 4th-round running back selection for the Houston Texans, up into where I am now interested, is what's going on around him, specifically the news out of camp about Nick Chubb, not really looking good. This has been reported by beat writers
That's
saying—
also news from my eyeballs of last year, pre-injury.
He was coming back from a devastating injury, then got injured. He's older, and now you'd hope, like, okay, he's 2 years away from the original devastating injury. He should be good to go, and you want to hear good reports out of camp. Unfortunately, beat reporters have talked about how he doesn't look like he has that explosiveness, that strength. And then the head coach comes out and is like, look, he's been through a lot. It's like, that's not what you want. Like, that's not what you want to hear.
It's in it. The Nick Chubb stuff is sad. Like Nick Chubb was a fantasy football hero for so long, and like
your body can only do so much, even with the most determined mind. Like Nick Chubb is a legend.
Mm-hmm.
But the reports out of camp are that he doesn't have the burst to get into the 2nd and 3rd level of the defenses. So, being a plotter, being a 4th down guy, maybe that works for Houston, but the future is not Nick Chubb there.
Yeah, and then you've got Dameon Pierce, currently injured. Joe Mixon, currently injured, still dealing with his foot problem. So that leaves their drafted rookie partner, Woody Marks, who we found out that his name, Woody, is not his real name.
Right.
He goes by Woody because of how much he loves Toy Story and the Woody character.
Hey,
now,
all right.
I
Toy
mean,
Story super fan.
Yeah.
As a preschooler, loved Toy Story. I mean, if these rules applied, my son would be named Buzz.
Okay.
But
you didn't try to give him that nickname.
No. He wanted to be Buzz Lightyear. But
Woody Marks was very, 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 very productive in the passing game in college. This is a player who, usually like, oh my gosh, they had 40 catches. That guy can catch. And it's like, well, yeah, he had 47 catches last year. He had 261 receptions in college. This is a very good pass catching back, had over 1,000 yards last year. I don't think he is the most tremendous, pre-NFL draft. He wasn't my favorite running back or one of the diamonds in the rough that I just loved, but the situation around him where opportunity, he's going to be needed on this team. Mixon playing a full season seems unlikely, and everyone else around him is not that good.
I also just feel like because of the other players here, obviously Marks is a rookie, and he is somebody you need to pay attention to. I would much rather take the shot on him than Chubb or Pierce. But it also means that, like, if Mixon can get back healthy, like, it really is his depth chart right now.
Yeah,
so,
that's also true.
The last thing to throw in here, like, he was a day 3 running back. Generally don't love that, but there was at least a trade involved of the Texans giving away a 2026 third in the draft.
Yeah, so they traded a day 2 pick.
Yeah, so the data is different on those types of scenarios, but it's good to at least see it's not just we waited until the 4th to get our guy. It was the 4th came and he was still there and we had to go get him.
This is my undrafted gem is for Mike. It's Zach Ertz.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree.
Tight end for the Washington Commanders, who is either the last pick in drafts.
He's old.
He's definitely old.
Go away, Zach.
But even from the jump at camp, it's like the most targeted player, like the go-to receiver. And here we are with this Terry McLaurin mystery, and Deebo Samuel is also old, and here's Zach Ertz, who's just reliable. He's old reliable. He's late career Jason Witten reliable. He can read a defense. He can find a spot to stand in, but not to run in, to stand in, and he's going to catch it, turn, and fall down with the best of them. And sometimes he falls into the painted area, and they call that a touchdown, and it works out for your fantasy team. So, he led the entire NFL in horizontal breaking routes. I mean, this is a player who's experienced, and you see this with tight ends.
Not a vertical player.
No, but I mean, he really – it's not like Zach Ertz ever had a Jimmy Graham period of his career, really. Like, he wasn't the super athlete. He was always the PPR hands guy that can read a defense, and you see this late in careers for tight ends.
He came into the league as old reliable.
He sort of did. I mean, and it was he was 9th in red zone target share amongst all pass catchers. Terry McLaurin, I mean, God forbid he's not there. If he wasn't there, like, Zach Ertz has to have a role until he gets hurt or moves on into the sunset. I mean, it is not elegant or exciting. It is the most opposite of a rookie in Woody Marks as you can get, but I think Zach Ertz is worth a mention.
Who is older, Zach Ertz or Adam Thielen?
Oh, that's Ertz.
Oh.
That's Ertz.
It's Adam Thielen.
Yeah. Wait, it is?
Yeah.
I thought Ertz was 30, almost 35.
He is.
Wait, how old is Thielen?
Almost 35.
42.
What? I thought he was like 33. All right. Adam Thielen is I'll say that. I don't think he's relevant at all.
Oh.
I think it's over.
Okay.
Because they got too many good players around him.
All right, I'm going to look, this is a Washington love section apparently. I've been bringing this guy's name up on all our mock drafts. It's Austin Eckler, running back for the Washington Manders. Last year, among running backs with 100 or more touches, he led them all in yards per touch. Over the first 11 weeks, he was averaging, almost 11 points per game on just 10 opportunities, so the efficiency was there. The concussion pretty much derailed the season for him. The snaps dropped down, and if you tuned into our YouTube and we have a new special up there that's going up on Saturdays. I highlighted Washington's backfield because this is a good backfield that we want to take shots on. Last year they were number 1 in EPA per rush as a team, 5th in total yards per game, and they have the 7th highest team applied total. And you want to take shots at that running back crew. This is not completely an anti-Brian Robinson stance. This is just I think Austin Eckler still has juice, despite being over 30 years old for a running back.
So a couple Washington guys, Woody Marks, Undrafted Gems for this week. Who knew Walmart could get you what you needed in as fast as an hour? Get free delivery on your first express delivery order with the code EXPRESS. Valid for first express delivery order, $50 minimum, subject to availability restrictions apply.
News and notes from around the league, presented by Progressive Insurance.
All right, we are digging into the news, and this is big time. Jason, you've been waiting with bated breath here.
I've been a long supporter of Kyren Williams, and I believe I just said recently I think he will get his contract extension this year, and he did. 3 years, $33 million extension with $23 million guaranteed. This is so good. Like, if you've got him in Dynasty, you have to be thrilled, but I also think in redraft it really just confirms that this is their guy. Last year they go out and they draft Corum, and everyone's scared, and then it was even more all Kyren than Corum. This year, it's like, Jarquez, they drafted another guy. Is it good? They're going to use Kyren.
The people have really moved past Blake Corum.
Oh, yeah.
With lightning speed.
Oh, yeah. Who?
Like last year, a third-round running back who was going to take Kyren's job per the Blake Corum truthers. And you're like, well, no, now that we got a guy drafted even later. But he's the guy. Mm-hmm. He's going to take Kyren's job. It's weird.
Yeah, no one's taking Kyren's job unless Kyren gets injured. Kyren is a very good player. He fits this system perfectly. He's a touchdown machine. So I'm just happy that this came through. And I want to say good job on both sides here. It's rare when a running back gets a big extension where it's like, yeah, that was a good idea from both sides. Kyren wasn't going to get much more than this if he tested the free agent market next year, and the Rams didn't break the bank here. They're not paying Kyren like he is Saquon Barkley. Good job, Rams.
Yeah, it's nice to have him in the fold, getting paid, cemented as the bell cow. We have Browns quarterback updates, which is pretty much that every player on this team has been hurt except for Joe Flacco. I mean, Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, all have dealt with injuries.
Protect him at all costs.
Joe Flacco is listed as the starter on the depth chart. Everybody else is banged up. The Browns had to go sign Tyler Huntley, which you'd think they wouldn't need to do with 4 quarterbacks. So, but they did. It really seems like Joe Flacco is going to have a huge opportunity here. Cedric Tillman has been making waves in camp. Deontay Johnson has been making waves in camp. Like,
give me that week 1 Bengals matchup.
I mean, Jerry Jeudy obviously had the great close to the year. So, look, I made some adjustments to my projections for quarterback distribution of work on the course of the year in the UDK. So, this is what we want. We want Joe Flacco at quarterback. We want it, especially if we're David Njoku fans.
Yes, I am.
Yep.
That is a huge, huge upgrade for him, the most of all, in my opinion.
I agree.
So, very excited about that. We are going to talk more about this team later on in the show, but New Orleans, Nick Underhill, great reporter for New Orleans. Now it's, Spencer Rattler is clearly outplaying Tyler Shuck in camp.
That's not
Hayner had
not
snaps.
good.
I mean, I kind of hesitate to get into more detail of my thoughts here because I want to talk about it later in the show.
Sure.
So
all right.
that's just the headline right now. The major TLDR here. One of the not good quarterbacks is leading in camp.
Which usually means one of the not good quarterbacks is actually flopping. That's probably what it means.
It's the
somebody
hope.
has to be the best.
The hope is that Shuck is better than we think.
Or just Spencer Rattler.
Well,
just better than Spencer Rattler.
The hope coming into the year is Shuck.
Yeah.
And then if Spencer Rattler is clearly better than him per reports.
Yeah, you can Shuck this season right in the garbage can.
Yeah, probably.
The Vikings bracing for a roughly 3-game suspension for Addison.
That sounds right.
A lot of people have wondered, why have we not had these suspensions yet handed down for Addison, for Rashee Rice? The league normally takes a little bit more time with these, but gives them clarity before the season begins. So
near the end of training camp.
Yeah, near the end of training
just
camp. Yep, you got it. All right, other injury news, Chris Godwin, which that's big-time news. According to the Bucs general manager, he's exactly where they wanted him to be, but that does not mean he will be available in week 1.
That's just what we wanted. It's what we wanted and hoped. We hoped he might not be ready for week 1. Get out of here. I mean, good. I'm happy that they aren't concerned, but obviously
they're not counting him out, but they believe he could miss at least a couple games to start the season. That means I'm counting him out of my draft, unless it's a really late IR stash situation. But we brought it up. We talked about it a little bit yesterday, but I think Egbuka could legitimately be the number 1 wide receiver on this team.
I am all in.
From week 1 all the way through. Mike Evans is in the twilight of his career, and he's great. He's a really good player, but he's not a volume player, right? He's not.
You need someone with juice.
Yeah, Mike Evans is good for 65 to 70 catches, and maybe he gets double-digit touchdowns. But this is fresh legs. This is a player that Jason absolutely adored coming out of college. Refined route runner, all the praise at camp, and just set up. Godwin is confusing because they gave him the money, but we've seen him recover from injury. It wasn't good. We got a new play caller. It's just Egbuka is sitting there as a super late round pick, and people probably want me to stop talking about him so that he stays there. But I think he's going to be valuable. Isaac Guerrero going to miss a few weeks in practice because the 49ers need to pick 3 or 4 running backs to miss camp time, and he's one of the ones they picked.
Yeah, this is important news. I don't know that he's ready to start the season, and obviously Christian McCaffrey's backup has always been very valuable. Jordan Mason was one of the most important fantasy assets last year in his replacement.
We have another Jordan up.
Jordan James, get get used to the name because it'll probably be said a lot if you're there a little earlier. He's the next guy up.
Out of Oregon, fifth round pick.
Out of Oregon, pretty good player. He's not like a burner, but last year in Oregon, over 1,000 yards, 15 rushing touchdowns, which is one of those stats we look at for rookie running backs making the transition to the NFL for fantasy success. So, if CMC is made of peanut brittle, you got to be aware of who the backup is.
He's not. He's made of titanium.
Oh, Mike. I hope you're right.
I feel a lot more confident with my Bijan in destruction comments than your Christian McCaffrey hope.
Yeah. No, Bijan's due.
No, 2/5 of the time is great. That's a high percentage. Najee Harris, walking laps as part of his rehab. Not sure how that gets his eye back, but
I hope it's at least brisk.
Yeah, like you can't sprint. Like, genuine question. If you're
with a bad eye,
you can't.
Maybe it hurts.
Maybe depth perception.
Maybe.
Well,
I don't know.
have it be on a field. You don't have to be running like around corners.
I am so bummed about this news. I feel like a little bit of a fantasy reaper here. Mason Taylor has suffered a high ankle sprain. Jets rookie tight end who's going to start from week 1, who I love, who is, I think, a steal in drafts, and now is going to miss some time with a high ankle sprain. It's brutal and a bummer. And so he's not the only rookie dealing with some injuries. Terrence Ferguson has an injury, which I think really hurts him with the Rams because Higbee is there. It's not like, at least with Mason Taylor, I think when he's healthy, he'll be the starter right away because that's what he's going to be. And the depth chart behind him is not worth worrying about. But Higbee, I mean, yeah, absolutely. Ferguson could have like a redshirt year if he needed it.
Ferguson and Mason Taylor are really sad. This time of year when rookies miss time, it impacts their ability to start the year hot. Cam Scadaboo is another one.
It bums me out, man.
Big time. He was looking great, so that sucks. With Mason Taylor gone, they are expecting a 75% market share for Garrett Wilson. Three out of every 4 passes will have to go his way.
Yeah, I mean, then they'll throw it to Josh Reynolds for a second and be like, "Oh, that wasn't very fun."
Yeah,
throw it back.
Honestly, this is terrible news, but Breece Hall might be the one that gets a little bump. If you're missing the tight end, develop more of those little screen games.
There is a lot of negativity on Justin Fields floating out on the Twitter sphere right now, putting up his completion percentages, and offense has been terrible, and that to me is he's trying to throw to the other guys. And then when the game starts, he's going to say, screw that crap.
Well,
I'm going to throw it to Garrett Wilson.
It's not helping Justin Fields losing Mason Taylor, I'll tell you that.
No, it's not.
Devin Neal suffered a hamstring strain, will miss multiple weeks for the Saints. He's a rookie running back. So right now it's Alvin Kamara, and can I say his name?
You can say his name.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Kendre Miller?
Yes.
Kendre Miller has just torn his hamstring.
Miller. I like the player. His body is paper mache.
This time last year, you were talking about their head coach quite a bit.
Yeah. Who won that one?
Yes. So who did not like Kendre Miller?
Yeah.
Dennis Allen was not a fan.
Dennis Allen was a turd.
Of his players. All right, that was News and Notes. Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers. Not available in all states or situations. Coverage subject to policy terms, limits, and conditions. We'll take a break, and then it's ice and fire time. Well, it only comes around once a year. It's one of my favorite shows.
Buckle up.
It's time.
Ice and fire.
All right, we each get to reveal a fire pick, a breakout candidate, and an ice selection here on the show. Somebody we think winter is coming for in the upcoming year. I'll go ahead and start. I wasn't necessarily going to, but we talked about it earlier a little bit, so let's just roll right into it. The player I'm going to talk about has been just a player of potential, great potential. great hope and optimism in fantasy football worlds. A player that was and maybe still is to some degree dynasty target, right? Somebody that you want.
Oh, this was a man on the rocket ship to being a top 10 dynasty, just there forever.
And so sometimes reality is difficult to accept for the fantasy football community in particular. The player I'm talking about is wide receiver Chris Olave, who unfortunately is not somebody I believe in any regard. And
This makes me so sad.
I am here today to step upon, with a forceful, heavy boot, the final hopes you have for this player. We talked about the wide receiver situation. You know, I like to bring up the fact that good teams can become bad teams and bad teams can become good teams. The parity in the NFL, it's incredible. It's what makes the NFL exciting, is you can have teams that come out of nowhere like the Commanders, and they're awesome. But there are some situations that are so obviously not going to work as well. And the New Orleans Saints offense is one of those situations, to the detriment of Chris Olave. This is year 4 for Chris Olave. And, you know, you can look at him, and you have to look at him in a very isolated way. You have to look at him on a per play basis or a per game basis, because he's missed a tremendous amount of time with injury and concussions, which you can go ahead and put that like at the very top in the story of Chris Olave, is that at any moment, if he suffers a concussion this year, you are talking about an extended absence.
That is 100% the headline. As someone who has had him for years, has him in Dynasty, and is always terrified, that is the elephant in the room. It's the nuclear button option that most players don't have.
Yeah, you don't want a player that if they suffer what is a fairly routine thing that happens in the NFL, you're going to miss maybe 4, 5, 6 games, maybe an extended period of time. Who's to say, based on their record, which right now they're, I think, projected to be the worst team in football, at what point of the season, if that happens again, does he miss the rest of the season? Like, that is hanging over Chris Olave. But the story around, hey, do you want to take that shot on him in the 6th round, which is where he's going right now, at least on Sleeper and an underdog, the story is also this offense in general, and the fact that you have Jake
I don't know, man. I've heard that the Spencer Rattler's outplaying competition right now. So
yeah, I mean, this is one of those, like, don't look at it like the Commanders that can suddenly become a great team. Look at it like what we thought about the Giants offense last year going into the season, where you knew you weren't going to get surprised by their production. And
but Malik Neighbors was top 10.
Malik Neighbors was very good, but unfortunately, the kind of player that Chris Olave is, like, who's the more explosive player, Chris Olave or Rashid Shaheed on the other side? Like, Shaheed was a player that, okay, you get an explosive play, and it's very valuable to you. Chris Olave has become this player who, you know, on a per route basis is getting worse and worse in production. And that's not what you want to see. You find that, like, a couple of years ago, we saw that the season with Derek Carr, where it was like, man, you know what? Some stuff is just not working.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't lay it all at the feet of Derek Carr. Like, Derek Carr last year had a higher percentage of his games finishing as a top 6 quarterback than Patrick Mahomes did, but you still saw the benefits going to Rashid Shaheed. And you got Brandon Cooks, who still is probably, you know, he's going to be a piece of the offense. You got tight ends in the equation, and you've got a team that's probably going to be in the bottom third in scoring. Now, maybe they surprise a little bit. If they do, it's going to have to involve.
No, they're going to surprise you worse.
I mean, it's really going to be a difficult thing for Chris Olave to get into the end zone, because it's always been a difficult thing when their team was good. I mean, he has 5 receptions inside the 10 since he got to the league.
He's never been a top 5.
That is 5 in 39
player.
Games. He's never been what?
Top 5 on a week.
No. He is a name that betrays the reality of his situation anymore. And you
shut up. Shut up. Just shut your mouth.
I still believe that he is a great player.
I don't think great is the right word. I don't think that it's not justifiable statistically to me. I think you can say good. You could say the best of the Saints.
He's definitely the best wide receiver of the Saints.
I don't know if that's for sure. I think Rashid
with
Shaheed has a skill set in different areas of the field that I like a lot more. And we all were like, why is Derek Carr throwing him the football and not Olave? And it happened for 2 years. So I think you're probably right. I think it should be Olave. He's more well-rounded. But he also showed that, look, lack of concentration on certain routes. He had some drops. He's got the concussion issue. He's got Shuck and Rattler and Hainer. Like, that is a law firm. That ain't a quarterback room.
I have no problem bypassing.
I got a snake, man.
Oh, Spencer. That's a reason for Spencer Rattler to be back out there.
Yeah, I have no problem passing on Chris Olave in a draft. There's so much risk. It's a very easy, clear path to see how it goes wrong. But at the same time, when he is on the field, he's not a boom guy, but he's very consistent. I believe he's an A&R consistency metric because he's the first target. He's going to have a great target share of an NFL offense, whoever the quarterback is. When he's healthy, he will be someone that should be started every week.
Well,
because he's going to give you 10.5, 11.5 points.
It's helpful for him that our consistency throws out the injuries.
Yes, obviously.
Because I'm sure that 17-game span is about a 4-year span. That's how it feels. And he has been very good, but he's had a lot better quarterback play. So I'm very, very hesitant. It's gone the wrong direction. Fantasy points per game last year was at 7 when he did play, and that was with better quarterback performances. I mean, it's disappointing. And maybe he's the Terry McLaurin, DJ Moore of his stage of his career where he's just a really good player in a really bad situation. But I gotta
bring this to the attention of the Foot Clan.
Okay.
I had no idea. Brooks hates Chris Olave.
Is that the truth?
That's what I'm learning here today.
How are you learning
Brooks,
this?
the kindest, sweetest, most gentle, loving man.
People love
lover.
Brooks, yeah.
Of course. He never is in slack. He's just in slack right now.
Hammering Chris Olave.
Olave.
He just threw another one out there. He says he likes players who can get 20 fantasy points because Chris Olave has never done it in 39 games. That says something. You know who has? Rashid Shaheed.
Yeah.
Tell you that.
Oh, man.
All right.
Man. Good.
That's
go,
wild.
Go get him, Brooks.
Yeah, bury him under the ice.
The most fire I've ever seen out of Brooks is anti-Chris Olave.
All right.
That's someone who's had Chris Olave before. I promise.
That's probably true. Yeah, let's move it on.
I'm jumping in.
All right, Mike.
I got a running back. He plays for the New England Patriots. There's 2 of them that we need to talk about. Which one am I going to go? This will be a clue.
Fire.
It ain't Ramondre Stevenson, that bum. We're talking about Travion Henderson, the absolute electric Travion Henderson. This guy, second-round pick, absolutely dominated at Ohio State. He went 38th overall to this situation. Look, we hoped for the Chicago Bears, but we did not get there.
38th overall was a disappointment to everybody.
It was just based off of we thought we could get him in the top 32, but would put him in the first round. 38 overall, though, is still a really high pick for a running back. He could have come out 2 years ago in 2024, and he would have been the first running back selected easily. Unfortunately for us for that year, NIL has changed some things because our boy Henderson was getting that Chipotle money. I don't know if you guys know.
I didn't know that.
Like if I'm in college and I'm getting paid by Chipotle, okay, maybe I'm going to stay in. But look, explosive plays of 10 or more yards, 24%. That's number 1 in this class. We talked about, that steady drum beat that you want to hear out of training camp. And it has been steady, and it has been getting really loud lately, especially highlighting how good he is in the receiving game. And that is a thing that can keep the rookie off the field is their work in the passing game. Maybe they're not the best pass catcher. Maybe they're not the best pass blocker. Henderson is tremendous at both of those things. And ball security, him versus Ramondre, it is night and day. Last year, Ramondre, 3.87 yards per carry, fumbled 7 times, the most by any non-quarterback. We're already getting reports of more fumbling issues from Ramondre coming out of camp. I think that he takes over sooner than later, and it's a rookie running back who was drafted in the second round of the NFL draft. That's a good bet for fantasy football. Since 2011, we looked at the first 6 rounds of redraft. We got 32 rookie running backs, and not counting the guys who got injured quickly into the season. But look, 60% of them exceed their ADP expectation, meaning they outplay what you're drafting them to give you. And then if you look at those rookie running backs who saw 2.5 or more targets per game, 80% hit rate on passing their ADP expectation. And look, 2.5 targets for Travion Henderson, that should be absolutely no problem. We looked at Josh McDaniels as a play caller. This guy, just running back target percentage is always way up there. And I know that he played with, the GOAT, Tom Brady, who was more of a statue guy, loved to check it down to his running back. But even years without Tom Brady, a near 30% target percentage going to the running back, 21, 20%. And we're looking at only full seasons of McDaniels as a play caller.
The story with Travion Henderson that I think is interesting, and I don't know if you saw this, Mike, but there was a couple of the reporters covering the Patriots beat in camp, and they're talking about the utilization of players. One thing that stood out was that Travion Henderson, they said, had significantly more downfield catches in camp than Stephon Diggs. They said from a utilization standpoint in the offense. It
makes sense because Henderson actually has juice and burst. Like athletically, we can often overemphasize athleticism when it comes to the running back position. Those are traits that you really have to have for the tight end, and running backs can be not as athletic, but his is just, it's off the charts. A 95th percentile for his explosive score because that's his vertical and broad jump. That's the initial get off the line. And you go back to his film in Ohio, like he can go downfield and make spectacular catches.
I think it's an easier argument for me to get on board with him as a fire pick when you focus on the receiving work and the receiving game in general. Because, the most recent depth chart reports from New England, Mike Vrabel, he's going to be the veteran first guy. He's got Ramondre's going to get his work. Ramondre's lost some weight. I think he was down 10 pounds. And then Antonio Gibson was even getting work ahead of Travion Henderson out of the backfield. That will take more time to do the depth chart jump, I think, with Mike Vrabel and with the team. And there's also been some talk of the offensive line really struggling, even though we know they invested at 4 overall and made the offensive line a priority. It's been struggling so far in camp. But you start talking about the versatility factor. You start talking about, look, when you break down the wide receiver room, like, Demario Douglas probably making the most strides in camp. Stephon Diggs, older. The other guys are not hyper-reliable players. So you look at Travion Henderson as a weapon in that regard. It gets me more excited when I see that he's getting downfield targets because he's the guy in space that could do a lot with it.
Yes, he can. And this is, the Patriots, when we did our divisional breakdowns, their projected win total was pretty shocking. Were we 8.5? Does anyone, Kyle, do you remember that one off the top of your head?
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, it was 8.5.
8.5. Like, this is, the bookies are saying this is going to be a solid team. Maybe that's not a playoff team, but that's a good amount of wins. That's going to be points on the board.
I still don't get it. I don't get it. I wonder. I guess if New England was sitting in the NFC North, I don't think they're at 8.5. But
no, for sure, this is as much a schedule blessing for them as anything else.
Yeah, I do think. I think that the Dolphins may be bad.
Sure,
I think that could be a team that they pass in the division for sure.
But Henderson is just. I know. Yes, look, Vrabel, veteran first. That stuff will happen right now, but it's a fantasy football.
Like Wenderson, is he going to take over? That's what we want to know.
And and he's not expensive in drafts. What? Oh,
I missed it. He switched his own joke, but I didn't hear it.
Plowed over it.
Right, wait, well, hold on. I want to hear it.
No, you can check the tape later.
It was bad.
Like, the excitement for Omarion Hampton. Hampton's gonna jump into like third round, probably even late second round of the excitement for him. Henderson's chilling right now as RB24. He will be better than the RB24. He will take over this job, and I think he will be, if not the one, at least the 1A sooner than later.
What round is he going?
The 6th round.
6th round? Yeah.
Like that is an easy selection for me.
All right, Jason, your turn to select either an ice or a fire player.
Well, I'm not going to tell you what it is yet. I'm going to talk about Sam Laporta, a young tight end on a great offense.
Former tight end 1.
Who has been the tight end 1 going into year 3. So obviously, great player, great team, great offense, great pick.
Ice.
No. Terrible pick.
No.
Sam Laporta is a good player. He is on a good offense, and he will be fine in fantasy. In fact, I am the highest ranked of the three of us on Sam Laporta. He's my tight end 5. I project him to finish as the tight end 5. That is a terrible pick where he's going. This is about opportunity cost.
Yeah, we talked about him a lot yesterday when I found out you were doing this.
Yeah, this is the issue here is one of fantasy football game strategy. This isn't really a take on Sam Laporta.
Yeah, it emotionally bothers me that he's an ice for you.
Sure,
because of my respect for the player.
And I get it. So if you want to just say my ice pick is 5th round tight ends, because if Sam Laporta were to slip to the 7th in your league, dude, I will take him. This is about what you're giving up and what you're getting to give up something good. So in the 5th round,
got a little lost on that.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
you got lost. I was right there. Here's the thing. Right now, Sam Laporta is going in the 5th round. The players that you are not taking at running back and wide receiver.
Travion Henderson.
Sure. You're taking him ahead of Travion Henderson. You're taking him ahead of Joe Mixon and James Conner. These are important fantasy. I mean, James Conner is, was a top 10 running back over Chuba Hubbard, who was very good. DK Metcalf, Cortland Sutton, Devontae Smith. These are players we know are good and will be important on fantasy rosters. Later in the 9th round, there are tight ends that are not that different than Sam Laporta. Do I have Sam Laporta ranked ahead of ahead of Evan Ingram? Yeah. Ahead of David Njoku? I can't remember if he's ahead or not. But there are tight ends going, you could take shots on Loveland and Tyler Warren.
Go look at the value scout tool that I just posted in there, because we just released this. It has our true value based on our rankings.
How funny.
And
I guess this is true.
There is no player that we have a bigger differential in what we view as their true value in the draft and where their average draft position is than Sam Laporta. We have a differential of 38 picks.
That feels so
for Sam Laporta.
bad.
It feels bad because Sam Laporta is good. This isn't an anti-Sam Laporta take.
Yeah.
This is a fantasy scoring take.
Or fantasy reality situation.
The difference in points between Sam Laporta and David Njoku is not that much. Okay, I mean, in fact, last year, David Njoku outscored Sam Laporta. 2 years ago, when Laporta was the number 1 tight end, you can't do better. He was 11.5 fantasy points. Like David Njoku last year was 10.6. The gap isn't that big. Think about what the gap is between guys going where you're taking Njoku, Travis Etienne, or James Conner. Like, one of those is a player no one wants, and one is going to be an important
You're saying the exchange for Laporta right now would be James Conner.
Exactly.
But the exchange for in the 8th round is an ETN, which is you're kind of indifferent about.
Here's the players I'm giving up. I'm giving up Najee Harris or Travis Etienne. I'm giving up Cooper Kupp. I'm giving up guys
Just do the trade. Do the pretend trade.
Would you rather have David Njoku
and James Conner
or Sam Laporta and Travis Etienne?
Yeah, that's a no-brainer.
This is where, and honestly, Hawkinson should be kind of in the same. When they drop a couple more rounds and you have the tier breaks at running back and wide receiver where you're starting to go to I don't know, there's a lot of red, yellow flags. I don't really love these wide receivers and running backs. Scoop up the good tight ends that you know are good. I know Sam Laporta is going to be good, but I also know that good at tight end it's not a difference maker. It's not winning you championships. And in fact, a lot of times you make more points, you score more points.
You make them in the laboratory.
You score more points by streaming against good tight end matchups and playing guys off of waivers than just week in, week out.
Than being locked into Laporta.
Yeah, exactly.
Every single way. No, it's difficult to accept. I promise all the listeners will only hear that you hate him.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
And this stat, I think, is where it's really important. Jay, you were talking about just 5th round tight ends. 39 tight ends drafted from rounds 5 through 7 over the last decade, and what they're expected to score, ADP expectation, we're talking an 87% whiff rate on those picks.
They're usually
middle round tight ends are just not. It's like Yeah, they're one every once in a while is going to sneak through and be an awesome pick. It keeps setting the trap for us. The bear trap just gets opened every single year because one of them goes through, and our leg gets stuck, and now we have these tight ends who are not helping us.
Are the bear traps, just out of curiosity, are they just sit there with like no bait, or is there like an apple in it or something?
No, I think there's no bait. I think it's covered.
It's covered with like leaves?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
you don't want to.
I was just trying to think of the analogy.
You're not wanting to get the head. This isn't a rat trap. Like, hey, come eat this apple.
Oh, yeah, no, you don't want the bear's
I think you would, but I don't know that that's the easiest thing to do. There's 4 legs. Much easier to get a leg.
What are we doing with the bear traps? Is that a thing still?
They exist.
Do we go for the bears?
I don't think we set them.
Okay. Like we don't set them?
I don't think.
As Americans?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Not just the 3 of us. I'm very confident the 3 of us no longer set bear traps.
Plenty of bear traps, though, in fantasy.
Yes, in the 5th to 7th round at the tight end position.
All right, we are going to take a quick break and come back. We each have another player to talk about on this edition of Ice and Fire. This is an ad by BetterHelp. These days, it feels like there's advice for everything. We talk about this all the time. You look at the reels and all the social media. You got the cold plunges, gratitude journals, screen detoxes. But the problem is you don't know what actually works. And the internet is full of information overload about mental health, about wellness, and it's hard to know what will actually make a difference, what's true. And so you got to take action, but you don't know how. You want to use trusted resources, and BetterHelp has live therapists that can get you personalized recommendations and help you break through all of that noise. With over 30,000 therapists worldwide, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally. And it's very convenient. You can join a session with a therapist at the click of a button, and you can switch therapists at any time. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Talk it out with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/footballers. That's betterhelp.com/footballers. Well, we know the Foot Clan is wise. They are sharp. And if those things are true, then they probably know by process of elimination that all I have left is a fire pick, which is going to surprise some people.
Yeah, oof. This is an individual show with our own individual takes.
Interesting. I didn't know that was going to be the position that you took on my fire pick, Jackson, Smith, and Jigba.
Fire.
This has not been a place. This has not been where I've been about JSN in years past, and I have really turned a corner this offseason on my expectations and excitement for a player that, looking on Sleeper, he's a 3rd-round pick, but on ESPN, this is what the platform, the value tool and our ADP platform comparison tool do. Like on ESPN, he's a 4th-round pick. He's a late 3rd on Yahoo right now, late 3rd on Underdog. I am the highest of our team here now, where I have him inside the top 10 at the position. But the transition has really happened in part because of what I believe about JSN's talent. Coming into the league, it was very, very slow going. Even last year, halfway through, it was slow going. And then you started to see a utilization for JSN that was much more significant down the field. Part of the question marks that you've brought up, Mike, who is he playing the slot? Is Cooper Kupp playing the slot?
Right.
Both of these guys, look, from what I see on film, JSN is very, very capable of being an excellent outside wide receiver. And I think they're going to give him that opportunity, which means more downfield targets. We have not traditionally looked at slot wide receivers with the same fantasy upside that we look at outside wide receivers. But you're talking about a 23-year-old player. I mean, he's one of 6 in the history of the NFL with a 100-catch season before turning 23. This is a young, talented player, and I don't want to fall into the same trap that we did last year with Sam Darnold and an offseason narrative that this guy couldn't support an elite wide receiver option. I mean, Jason just talked about Cooper Kupp. He's going in the 8th, 9th round of drafts. You've got offseason talk. Maybe, Torrey Horton's going to be a valuable player on this roster. We all know the story. You talk about target market share. You talk about total volume in the offense. And you talk about talent, and JSN meets all of those markers. Like, you look at players that could be eligible to move up into the upper echelon at the position, and I am on board with JSN this year. I think he's going to move around the formation a lot. We've already got, I mean, we haven't talked about it. We should have. I don't know why I've let it been buried, but Kenneth Walker's hurt again. I mean,
Kenneth Walker is resting.
He's resting his bones and
his tendons and his. Were you going to say his meat, Jason?
Were
you going to say his meat?
I would never.
He will be so rested and recovered for week 1.
3
guys.
practices missed already. Just a little tuckered out. At least he averaged 3.7 a carry last year.
He's resting.
Yeah, he rested on the field. That's the problem.
I know. That's why he's going to be so ready.
He is so rested for year 4.
He is
he's taken those first 3 years and rested.
Yeah, I mean, this is the number 1 target by a wide margin. He absolutely dominated over the second half of the year last year. You saw it. And I don't think that we should take the ambiguity of a quarterback change and not recognize, look, no more Tyler Lockett, no more DK Metcalf, right? Like, no more Noah Fant. Yeah, maybe Arroyo is going to be relevant in this offense, but the target totals for JSN are going to be out of control. And I don't think we were very generous to the Seattle offense when we did our divisional breakdown.
I stand by it.
Yeah, and that's fine. That's fine. But I mean, this is a player that I think could, like, when you're looking for that breakout and the career years you got out of, like, when CeeDee Lamb was the number 1 overall wide receiver. He was JSN's age. When Jefferson did it, he was JSN's age. When Jamar Chase did it, like, this is the prime time for the elite season for JSN. And I just think maybe we're undervaluing that in terms of, can he finish a top 3-4 player? I actually think he can. I actually think JSN could do that.
Yeah, I mean, it would take Sam Darnold to have truly leveled up and not just been a product of the Vikings, system and weapons last year. Obviously, if Sam Darnold does
his Baker era,
if Sam Darnold does this year what he did last year, he could support JSN to be a top 5 guy. I've got JSN as a top 15 wide receiver. I like a lot of what you're saying. I think he is talented, but I do have more hesitations on the offense. I think they want to run the ball.
I knew it'd be tough to persuade both of you guys.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not out.
Just remember this moment.
And I'm with Jason. I'm not out, but I have him at wide receiver 15 right now. He's going as wide receiver 12. So that says to me, I will have no shares of JSN because I'm not willing to go slightly early, and he's not going to make it late enough where I'm okay with taking on the risk of just the variables. To me are a ton of not. I mean, Sam Darnold at the tippy top. Sam Darnold with a bad offensive line, with a scheme that they want to be really run heavy, and then the Cooper Kupp JSN. How is that going to work out? It's not that it can't. It's just that's enough to make me just go to a different player.
Yeah, the kind of parallel you'd want to look at for hopes and dreams for JSN is Amon-Ra as a rookie, 77% of the time in the slot, 21% of the time out wide. That moved to 60-40, then it moved to basically 55-47, and then last year was like 50-50. For Amon-Ra, inside, outside, all over the place, go-to target, and everything at camp, like the amount of targets that JSN is going to get this year, that's what convinces me of this pick. So it's going to be a very interesting one. I was not on board early in the offseason. I've come full circle.
To follow up on, like, if a player is a full-time slot player, that's when things are difficult. It's like the slot can be very advantageous if you have a good offensive coordinator. That's when you're moving guys around and getting the mismatch. But so it's like when they go to 2 wide, you're on the outside, and then when they go to 3, sometimes you're on the outside, sometimes you're in the slot. Like, that is okay. That actually gives you the magical fantasy years, like the Julio Jones when he's popping off back in the day. It was because he was moving all over the field and all over the formation. So if they're doing that with JSN, that would really, really help the baseline.
Yep. All right. I'll leave it there. I do think he is, you try to identify players that could finish, inside the top 5. I do think he's one of those guys.
All right. I'm going to jump in with my ice pick. And it's not that this player necessarily has a really high ADP, but they are being drafted right now on Sleeper in the 7th round. And the way that I'm looking at it, that is just taking your pick and, well, setting on a fire, but I have to freezing
Putting it on ice.
Yeah, okay.
Ice.
It's Tyrone Tracy Jr., running back, current starting running back of the New York Giants. Last year was great. It was great for Tracy. I mean, he was a 5th rounder in 17 games. He finished as the running back 25. He became the focal point of the offense with 192 carries, 55 targets. Thank you. I don't have the button. Like week 5, running back from week 5 on, he was a running back 15. And here is the downside, though. The Giants if they would shock me. Like, teams can go from bad to good. I don't think that the Giants are going to be making that type of a jump this year. This team is going to be on red alert the entirety of the season, from a quarterback change to a coaches being fired. I mean, Dable has to be on the hottest of hot seats.
Tough division.
Right now in a really hard division. And last year, we're talking like volume got him there. But efficiency, 39th out of 44 qualified running backs in rush success rate. Only 30% of his runs went for 5 or more yards. That's 41st out of 47. The offensive line is projected to be even worse. And it's to me, then the worst part is the competition. There's so many variables just for this team. But then Cam Scatterbo, who he did fall into the 4th round, but I think that Cam Scatterbo is just a much better player than Tyrone Tracy, especially in the receiving game. Yes, Scatterbo is hurt at the moment, but there has been some positive buzz out here about Tyrone Tracy from the same source last year who was giving you really positive vibes right before the season starts that Devin Singletary is locked in and he's going to be the guy, which to the credit of that report,
he did start that way.
Singletary did start as that, and then he got hurt, and then they were like, nah. Good enough. We'll move on to Tyrone Tracy.
I've struggled to find people excited about Tyrone Tracy this offseason.
But he gets drafted.
But I don't know why that is, because he was very exciting in the middle of last year.
He was. I remember
Is it all Cam Scatterbo?
To me, Cam Scatterbo is a huge part of it. But then it's just what could happen to this team.
What if I told you Scatterbo wasn't playing? Like, would you have been excited about Tyrone Tracy?
I would be. Yes, I wouldn't be excited, but I would be fine taking him here as a later round running back. But I think that him holding on to that amount of volume, almost 200 carries and those 55 targets, that's not going to happen with Scatterbo.
He has gone below ADP in all 5 footballers' mocks this offseason. So
good for us.
At least here in the building, the excitement to draft him is not permeated into any sort of higher ADP.
But what I'm doing with this saying is I'm not just unexcited to draft him. I think it is a completely wasted pick. I think
useless.
Even the worst kind of those first few weeks will probably be Tyrone Tracy running the backfield, and your confidence will grow in this player, and then it will vanish, and you will get maybe a couple weeks out of him. And those weeks, by the way.
Do you worry at all about the report coming out saying that Tyrone Tracy he's like the guy's not a big competition? That's what I was saying.
That was the source who told us that Devin Singletary was for sure locked into 80% of the snaps last year.
They have the hardest strength schedule in the entire NFL.
That is the other point. Let's say it starts. Tracy's the guy at the beginning of the year. Washington, Dallas, Kansas City, the Chargers. If they can make it to week 5, then he gets a plus matchup against the Saints. Philly, Denver, 49ers. Like this is they got done dirty.
If you're
by
bad,
the NFL.
If you're bad, your running back fantasy points are bad. That's the equation that has gone. I mean, you go back to 2018, the worst team in the league. Not saying they will be. I think their defense is good enough for them not to be the worst team. But if you're a bad team, your running back fantasy points are 25th or lower. And most of the time it's 29, 30, 31, 32. You don't produce on the ground.
Ironically, the one place that you are okay being a running back on a bad team is if you're the pass-catching back, which Tyrone Tracy did catch passes last year, but that is also a specialty of Cam Scatterbo. So when he comes back, and that, even in the report saying that was, that it's Tyrone Tracy's job right now, they were like, they saw Cam Scatterbo as the pass-catching back, which if you're down, that's probably who you want.
All right, Jason, I bet you have a fire player.
I'm not going to reveal that yet. I will say this: we come in and we pick our guys. We don't always know who else we're going to be talking about. It is surprising that we have 2 fire picks from the New England Patriots,
Yeah,
but
what are
here
we
are.
doing?
I'm going to talk about
What are we doing?
You guys are crazy, man.
what could go wrong. I'm going to talk about quarterback Drake May.
Fire.
Drake May, very undervalued in drafts right now. He's never been as sexy as Caleb Williams. He was the 3rd overall pick in the 2024 draft. That is usually incredible draft capital. Yet he was the 3rd quarterback drafted.
It worked incredible for my guy, Trey Lance.
Right, yeah. Drake May didn't start until week 6 last year. They wanted to bring him along slowly, especially because of how bad that offensive line was. They put Jacoby Brissett out there to just become beef brisket behind that offensive line. But when he took over from weeks 6 through 16, he was playing pretty well. He scored more than Kyler Murray and more than Jordan Love, despite the fact that he was throwing to absolutely no one. He was throwing to booty a lot. As a passer, he actually completed 67% of his passes. That's a very good number for a rookie, especially in his situation. Here's, I think, a really neat stat to show what I saw on film that had me excited and believing. I think he's good. Among 31 qualifying rookie quarterbacks over the last decade, Jaden Daniels ranked 2nd in drop-back success rate. Drake May was 4th. Drake May played good ball. And the best part is he runs the football. He runs a lot. He was on pace for 632 rushing yards. He's one of only 8 quarterbacks since the year 2000 to rush for 30-plus yards a game as a rookie. The others are, Robert Griffin, Josh Allen, Jaden Daniels, Cam Newton, Justin Fields. It's
a good fantasy list to be on.
These are great. Drake May had 45 total scrambles last year. That was 1 less than Lamar Jackson, and he didn't start until week 6. So we've got the running game there. We've got the passing game looking good. They spent a top pick on an offensive lineman. They don't have a great offensive line, but I think their left tackle is fixed. And if you look, over the last decade, we've had 50 quarterbacks to start at least 12 games and hit 75-plus rush attempts, which we all independently have him statted for more than that. Those quarterbacks average 20.6 fantasy points per game. 82% of them finish as a top 12 quarterback. And now you've got an improved weapon core. I mean, we've got Travion Henderson out of the backfield, great at catching the ball.
And Josh McDaniels throws to the running back, so if you can get some cheap yards for Drake May out of the backfield going to Travion, that'd be nice.
Yeah, you added Stephon Diggs, obviously older, but still really valuable. He's going to be in the right place at the right time. He's going to catch the ball if you put it near his hands. You added
Demario Douglas would have been my undrafted gem, but you told me I can't name another Patriot on the show.
Yes, that's true. Kyle Williams, they spent the 3rd-round pick on a much-needed kind of outside speed wide receiver. Demario Douglas, who you like, now he gets to not have to be the main guy when he's just a slot. He's a good slot receiver. So I think they've actually got a core here that can move the ball, that can get down and score touchdowns. Like we brought it up, they're actually projected to win games this year, 8.5. And I just look at the ADP of these quarterbacks, who you could take late that is a rushing mobile quarterback that might level up. There's a lot of ways it could happen for Drake May. He's a good quarterback. He runs the ball. He's got an improved situation, and he's going into year 2, and he costs you nothing. So he can even be a second quarterback you draft.
We've got him. I think our true value on him is in the 10th round, and he's going in the middle to late 11th round. So if you want to take him around early to get your shot at it, it's definitely affordable. So, all right, that does it for Ice and Fire. We got wide receiver ranking shows coming up. We've got another mock draft episode. We've got our top 10 tips and tricks episode coming up. We've got the My Guys for 2025.
Mercy.
Which is always an exciting and fun show to do. Got to lock in those 3 My Guys, gentlemen. And the time is coming soon. Yeah. So, all right, that is it for today. But guess what? We're back tomorrow. Make sure you subscribe, follow the show on whatever podcast app you are using or over on YouTube. If you've got a free minute and you want to help us out, that'd be sweet. Al Borland would love that. If you left a review, Al,
he loves reviews.
You're super into reviews, right?
That's all I do all day is I just browse the reviews.
He looks for his name in there,
Yeah,
too.
get to work, man.
He wants to see Al's name in the reviews. So if you want to do that, go ahead and take a few moments. That'd be awesome. And the Ultimate Draft Kit available at ultimatedraftkit.com. That'll do it. Ice and Fire in the books. More to come. Take care.
Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.